Carpe diem. It's Latin. It usually is translated as seize the day. It's a phrase that was first used by the Roman poet Horace to express the idea that one should enjoy the moment while one can. We don't usually use the term carpe diem anymore, but the acronym Yolo turned up in 2012 and it was big on Twitter and Facebook for a while. Then it was added to the Oxford English Dictionary, so maybe people don't use it anymore. YOLO is what a young person says just before he does something stupid, or as an explanation for why he did something stupid. As in, Bobby, don't dive off that cliff. There might be a submerged log in the water. And Bobby says, YOLO, and he dives in anyway. YOLO means you only live once. It suggests that we ought to live for the present and don't think too much about the future. It sounds a lot like carpe diem, doesn't it? But the two are quite different. YOLO means you only live once, but carpe diem, aside from the seduction poetry, means live every day. These are two very different things. Consider the context of each. Life was hard in Horace's day and in the time of the carpe diem poets that we have just discussed. It was hard to stay alive, what with the wars and plagues and famines, not to mention childbirth, regular sickness, fires, criminals, executions, and rampaging animals. The idea of carpe diem is a lot different when death is around you all the time. Anyone who has ever said YOLO likely has never encountered death, up close and personally. Horace actually wrote, Carpe diem quam minimum credula postero, which translates to pluck the day, trusting as little as possible in the next one. The term pluck metaphorically compares the day to a piece of fruit. You pluck it when it's ripe. You do it at the appropriate time. It kind of sounds like Ecclesiastes 3, or that song by the Byrds. To everything there is a season. Seizing the day means to do what needs to be done because tomorrow is uncertain. So it's highly unlikely that Roman youths yelled carpe diem as they dove off the cliff into the Adriatic. YOLO is a rationalization of stupid behavior. Carpe diem is a justification for relishing timely behavior. And by that I don't just mean cautious and responsible behavior. It's not as boring as all that. There are appropriate times for all kinds of awesome stuff. So, as with most things, YOLO isn't completely stupid. The wisdom of YOLO is the wisdom of carpe diem. Focusing too much on the future is foolish. Christian writer and thinker C.S. Lewis says that we should focus on the present, because focus on the future plays right into the hands of the demonic powers. In Lewis's book, The Screwtape Letters, a senior devil named Screwtape says that the enemy, to him the enemy is Jesus, the enemy wants us to attend chiefly to two things, to eternity itself and to that point in time which we call the present. So obviously the devils are trying to get our attention away from eternity and the present. The demons do this by making us focus on the future. The problem with the future is that it isn't real. It offers all kinds of false fears and hopes. False fears. I can simultaneously worry about never marrying, being alone for my whole life, and about marrying the wrong person, being miserable for my whole life. It's impossible for both of these to happen, but I still manage to worry about both as if they could. False hopes. One lifetime is not enough to encompass all that I have hoped for. I will not get a Ranger tug and go and live on the water. I won't live in New York and write books. I won't get a PhD, or 2 or 3. I won't be an artist in Brittany, and I won't get 100,000 followers on my YouTube channel. And let's say I did one of those. I couldn't possibly do all 6. With all its false hopes and false fears, the future is filled with unrealities. To live in the future is to live outside of reality. The demons want a man hag-ridden by the future. Screwtape continues, we want a whole race perpetually in pursuit of the rainbow's end, never honest, nor kind, nor happy now, but always using as mere fuel wherewith to heap the altar of the future with every real gift which is offered to them in the present. In other words, the devils want us to sacrifice the present, which is real, for the future, which is illusory. And look at what's in the present. a fresh cup of coffee, a good book, a conversation with a friend, and intimacy with the one you love, just to name a few. These can only be had in the present. And we can only be honest and truthful and compassionate and generous in the present too. In other words, we can only love our neighbor and worship our Lord in the present. No wonder the forces of hell want to deny us the present. We should attend to the present and not focus obsessively on the future. So Yolo gets that right. The English teacher in me needs to first point out a big syntactic problem with the phrase "you only live once." Bear with me. The adverb only modifies the verb live. So by saying YOLO, you are claiming that living is the only thing you do once. And of course that's completely wrong. You do lots of things only once. You are only born once, you die only once, you only read Gravity's Rainbow once, you only eat haukarach once. Okay, I might actually try that one again just to see if it tastes as bad as I remember it tasting. They call it an Icelandic delicacy, but it's actually rotten fermented shark. Ugh. What I'm saying is that to mean what they want it to mean, YOLO should be YOLO. You live only once. But syntax is not the only thing wrong with YOLO. What this philosophy gets wrong is it fails to take eternity into account. As we've already said, the present is the most real component of time. And part of what makes the present the most real is it is the point at which time touches eternity. Lewis says that the present is all lit up with eternal rays. The YOLO philosophy says that the present is important, but not because it's infused with eternity, but because it isn't. The plain present is all that there is. There's no future, but there's also no eternal rays in the present either. When life is over, there's nothing else. So if you don't do it now, you will never do it. But Christianity asserts that every human being is going to live forever. Lewis says in Mere Christianity that there are a good many things that would not be worth bothering about if I were to live only 70 years, but which I had better bother about very seriously if I'm going to live forever. As Gandalf said in The Hobbit, it does not do to leave a live dragon out of your calculations if you live near him, nor does it do to leave eternity out of your calculations if you are living in it. YOLO encourages us to ride a shopping cart down a steep hill or get a slangy, syntactically false acronym tattooed on your neck because tomorrow doesn't matter. Carpe diem encourages us to add value to each day through our active participation in it because there may be no tomorrow. Christian carpe diem encourages us to add value to each day through our active participation in it because tomorrow is forever. Thank you for watching.